let's check out the solution challenge.
Let's do this.
Okay, I'll present my screen.
Welcome to the Google Developer Student Club's 2021 Solution Challenge. The mission of this challenge is to use Google technology to solve for one of the United Nations' 17 Sustainable Development Goals, aiming to end poverty, ensure prosperity, and protect the planet. Win cool prizes, mentorship from Google, and swag. Get help along the way from Google at training events, code labs, and hackathons. Submit your solution by March 31st, 2021. Register today. We can't wait to see what you build.
Let's get started.
Hi everyone, I'm Arman Hezarkhani, and in this video, we'll go through the workflow of building a hypothetical solution for the Google Developer Student Club's 2021 Solution Challenge. In the previous video, we explored the United Nations' 17 Sustainable Development Goals and brainstormed some sample solutions we could build. In this video, we're going to pick one of the sample solutions, and together, we'll quickly walk through the journey to building a successful demo. One of the ideas we came up with in the previous video was to develop an elderly-friendly education platform solving for the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, quality education. So first, I'll share my initial thoughts with my Google Developer Student Club's members. I'll introduce myself and my strengths, and I'll highlight what types of talents and experience I'm looking for in my prospective team members. For example, let's say I have solid UI UX abilities, but I need help when building the server side of my application, and I definitely need help leading the team and managing the project. Once I meet with the potential team members and some of us decide to join forces, it's time to do a design sprint. We do this in order to properly define the problem and then come up with possible solutions. For detailed instructions on this step, check out this video series. Once we're done with our design sprint, let's assume we've defined the problem as mobile apps can be too complicated for the elderly and the buttons are too small. And elderly users sometimes find the discovery stage too complicated or find the course tutor style to be too millennial oriented or fast. Also during the design sprint, we define the solution as 1. Build a platform that supports the niche market of elderly education. 2. The client app should be simple to navigate and has minimal distractions, like notifications or ads. And 3. Course providers can produce content specifically designed for the elderly, possibly by the elderly, thus providing a revenue stream to a usually underserved demographic. Once we've confirmed it with some potential users, it's time to start designing the user interface. We'll share this load between the team members, but I'll offer to take the lead since I believe I'm good at UX and UI. I'll share my workflow and designs, and the team will go through a few hours of feedback and revisions. This stage can take a day, or it can take a week. Don't rush to implement the solution before you're confident you've designed a workflow and functionality that solves the problem you have defined. In our design, there are 3 user types: the learner, the helper, and the teacher. And my team members are confident we're catering for all user types in the best way considering our specific market. So it's time to design the technology. We've decided to build a progressive web app instead of spending time building both a website and a native Android app. We decided to use Firebase at the backend to serve the course content to our users. At this stage, we'll probably share our thoughts with our teacher or with the DSC lead and ask for their advice on our designs and technology decisions. We'll also ask the DSC lead what workshops we should attend or what code labs we should complete, all in order to be ready for the tasks at hand. Bear in mind, this is just a quick walkthrough of this stage, so be sure to check out my videos on designing the technology or the many resources we have on the website. Next, we will spend the time to build our solution. On our team, we have a couple of members who build the progressive web app and a couple of members who build the server side, front end and back end. You might separate the tasks differently, or you might have less team members. Whatever works for you and your team is fair game. If we get stuck, we'll ask a question on Parthian. Through the Parthian platform, you'll be able to reach out to Google developer experts who are ready to help you with any technical questions you might have. Be sure to visit the platform to receive online support and mentorship while you're working on your project. This part is important. At times, you might get stuck. or even dispirited. Getting advice from a world-class expert can really help your team push through and build a great solution. So I encourage you to reach out to the Google developer experts through Parthian. Once we have a beta version, we'll go through some user testing and we'll get feedback. We'll iterate over our code and we'll remove any bugs that we find on the platform. Now that we're close to a great working version of our solution, one or two of our team members will start researching pitching strategies and how we should present our solution in a demo. We'll record a video demo of our app. And finally, we'll warm up our acting chops and prepare an awesome demo, which will inspire people to use or recommend our app to the prospective demographic of users. And that's it. Wow. That was 2 to 3 months of effort compressed into 3 minutes. Obviously, I'm not suggesting that it'll be this easy or super quick to come up with a winning solution. But if you're passionate about your problem and your solution, and if you use resources provided such as workshops, hackathons, code labs, and the network of Google developer experts through Parthian, you'll have a high chance of developing a solution you will be very, very proud of. So good luck to all of you. Use the resources, and we can't wait to see the awesome solutions you'll come up with.
Welcome to the first day of Ideathon 2021, hosted by the DSC PSB Academy. Woo!
Woo!
It's Firstly, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Joylene, and I'm a computer science student in PSB Academy and also a part of the publicity and outreach team in the DSC PSB Academy. And this is my co-host.
Hello everyone, my name is Robert Judono, a computer science student in PSB Academy and also the current logistics head of the DSC student chapter in PSB Academy.
So, before we start our event, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors for making this event happen. Our platinum sponsors, Pitchpot and Airmeet, and then our gold and silver sponsors, Wantedly and StreamYard, our prize sponsor, Google, and our online venue, Google Developer Space.
We would also like to thank our education partner, our very own PSB Academy, and also our community partner. First, we have the Google Developer Experts, Google Cloud, Google Developer Group Singapore or GDG Singapore, and also the Google Developer Student Club.
Speaking of our official partners, we are happy to welcome the Google Developer Space Marketing and Operation Manager, Ms. Lim Chesin, to introduce us more about the Google Developer Space. Cue the claps! Hi, Ms. Chia. Ms. Chia, you're on mute.
Yeah, no, it's fine now, right?
Yeah, it's good.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, I super love your enthusiasm. Yeah, and awesome videos that you folks did. Really love how you started off the session.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, and hi everyone, welcome to Google Developer Space YouTube channel, and we hope you are having a great Friday. Thanks for joining us today, and I'm Jia Xing from the Google Developer Relations team. So before we begin today's session organized by DSC, I just want to take some time to share what Google Developer Space is about for those of you who have not heard about us before. So we actually have a physical office in the Google Singapore office, but due to COVID-19, I think everyone knows we stopped offline events. So we brought everything online, and we are currently helping developer communities and also startup communities host their events online. And so we regularly host online events. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to look for this kind of developer content or about startup related content. And upcoming campaign that we just launched is actually in celebration of International Women's Day. So tomorrow we are kickstarting with two sessions by two different communities. So the first one is by Jakarta Machine Learning, and the second one is by Women Who Code KL. So we are really excited because we have invited awesome female speakers who will be sharing about their career journeys in tech. And I'm sure that there will be a lot of takeaways for you folks. So do tune in and join us if you are able to. And lastly, stay connected with us so you can find all of our information over here, our website, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. And I think I'm done. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this as well.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lim Jia Sin, for the information.
Okay, so Robert, what is the Google Developer Student Club anyway?
So, in a few short words, the Google Developer Student Club, or DSC, are university-based community groups for students interested in the Google developer technologies to learn and grow together. Previously, we have organized multiple events, such as Firebase, Android, Google Cloud study jams. So do join us to stay updated on future events and study jams by entering the link shown in the screen, as well as following us at DSC PSBA on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So Joylin, can you tell us more about this Ideathon?
Ideathon 2021 is a competitive event that requires the participating teams to develop a solution for one or more of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Goals using the Google technology.
Wow, that sure is interesting. So here is a brief rundown of what we'll be doing today. First up, we have the opening remarks, followed by the Ideathon briefing. Then we have the project building, and lastly, we have kickstarting Ideathon 2021.
Woo! As for the speakers, today we will be introducing 4 speakers. First up is Dr. Bala, who is our covering head for the School of Engineering and Technology in PSB Academy.
Next, we have our founder, the president of DSC PSB Academy, Shafiq.
And then third, we have Mr. Ong Chin An, who is our lecturer and program leader at the School of Engineering and Technology in PSB Academy.
And last but not least, we have Ms. Erica Hansen, who is the global program lead for Google Cloud DSC for Google DSC in New York City.
Without further ado, let's start the event by inviting Dr. Vala to do the Ideathon 2021 opening remarks. Cue the claps! Welcome,
Thank you.
Dr. Vala!
Thank you, Joylin.
Welcome, Mr. Bala.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay, let me start. Yeah, on behalf of PSB Academy, I welcome all of you for this Ideathon 2021. And even though my colleagues asked me to say welcome note, I think I cannot stop by thanking my colleagues and my students by, like my colleague here, Chinnan, who is the faculty advisor of this developer student club, and Gabriel, who is the staff advisor, and Safiq Ahmed, who is the founder and president. Without him, this club will not be here today. Then my very good compeers, Joylin and Robert. And you may wonder why I thank them in the beginning, correct? So this club started just roughly 5 months, 5 to 6 months, if I'm not wrong. In these 5 to 6 months, this club conducted almost 9 events, almost 1.5 events per month. You know, the students, they have big commitment to study all these things. In spite of all these things, they are able to continuously run the events in these 5 to 6 months, 9 events. So fantastic. So that's why I want to thank them in the beginning. Yeah. So maybe, and also I welcome all my students, PSB students, and all the students from, I think we have students from NUS, NTU, SIT, and of course, last but not least, my own PSB students. I welcome all of you to this Ideathon 2021. Since many of you here are students, I thought of sharing about career and what you need to do to get a good employment and all. Okay, so in order to get a good job or to prosper in your career, you need to have all these skill sets. You need to have a good analytical skills. You need to have good communication skill. Communication skill means both written and verbal skills. And you need to have interpersonal skills. What do you mean by interpersonal skills? Leadership, networking, and teamwork. And you should know how to prioritize your work and how do you execute it effectively. And you need to have a good decision-making skills. And you need to have a good problem-solving skills. And you should be good in meeting deadlines. And you need to do good attention to detail. Whatever the program you study, program means whether you do engineering or IT or cyber security, in order to get a good job or in order to prosper in your job, you need to have 2 sets of skills, hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills is the one, your subject knowledge. Whether you do computer science or cyber security or engineering, your subject knowledge is the hard skill, which you will gain during your course. Apart from this, you need to have a good soft skills. good set of soft skills, I can say. What do you mean by soft skills? You see the screen here, it will tell you what are all the soft skills. Problem solving skill, creative thinking skill, teamwork, decision making, intrapersonal, interpersonal, communication, leadership skills. By participating this kind of events, you are developing or you are demonstrating, you are growing your soft skills. Even you see here, so in this event you are here, so we will be giving you some problem, then you will discuss, then you will solve by working in a team. So here itself you see problem solving, teamwork, but all this comes by doing proper thinking. Then of course whatever you do, you should know how to present this. So communication skills, of course when you work in a team, knowingly unknowingly your leadership skill will develop, right? Then the self-thinking process, by working with this, the interpersonal skills, intrapersonal skills will develop. Intrapersonal skill means the ability within you, right? How you develop yourself. Then interpersonal, how you work with others. All these skills will develop by participating this kind of events or this kind of competitions. So now you see my students, Joylin, Robert, you see how they communicate. Later you will see fantastic. My Safik, he's going to brief you, and he's the one leading here. You know how much soft skill he has, you see. All right. Then in order to become a successful graduate, you see the 3 boxes here: global competence, technical competence, professional competence. This technical competence, the middle box, is the hard skill which I explained you just now. Then the professional competence comes from the soft skills which I explained to you also. Then the global competence will come by working in a multicultural environment. Not only working, even when you learn, of course, when you learn in Singapore, of course, you learn in a multicultural environment. When you go for work, so you should know how to work in a multicultural environment. Then you should know how to understand global market and business practice. And you should know the culture and social and political awareness. When you have all these things, you become a successful graduate. Okay, now you come into Ideathon 2021. Later, my colleague Chinnan and my student Shafiq going to explain you about this Ideathon. Maybe in a nutshell, this is going to be a 9-day event from today until 20th March. And here you are here to develop a solution for the given problem statement. The problem statement comes from 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, right? Then you need to use one of the Google technologies. Google technologies, what is Google technologies? I no need to brief you. As a participant, you know well more than me, right? And next 1 or 2 slides, I want to just highlight design thinking. Of course, I'm not here to talk about design thinking because there is an exclusive session for design thinking in another 1 or 2 days, right? But why I need to explain this? No, in this Ideathon competition, you are going to be assessed. Maybe you are going to be assessed for 100 marks, right? Out of this 100 marks, maybe I give you some tips, correct? Then the people who will be assessing your work will be mainly checking whether your solution went through iterative process, right? And whether your solution, whether is it tested before. These kind of things carries some weightage for you also. So in order for your solution, whether it went through iterative process or whether it is tested, all these are part of design thinking. This is the secret behind design thinking. Right? So what is design thinking? Design thinking is an iterative process for creative problem solving. Of course, as a computer science graduate or an engineering graduate or students, you know what is iterative process. Iterative process means you keep on doing something until you achieve what you want, right? Then this design thinking is a human-centered approach. Then this design thinking help you to develop innovative solutions based on the needs of your customers. And these solutions are revolutionary. It is not just incremental. This is a quote from Stanford Design School. Why we refer the quote from Stanford Design School? Because this design thinking comes from Stanford Design School. According to this quote, you see, I just nothing wrong in reading this. To create meaningful innovations, that is, you need to know your users and care about their lives. Why I bring this here in this platform? You see, this design thinking having 5 stages. Actually, here you are here to solve some particular problem. You can take a design thinking approach to solve your problem. Here, when I talk, you take this quote, right? This quote is nothing but the first point, empathize. What do you mean by empathize? You think in customer's point of view. You think in terms of others' shoes. So in order to do this, you need to conduct interviews. And next stage is define. Define means you create a human-centric problem statement that I call define. So these two nothing but forming problem space. Then you need to come for the solution. For the problem which you defined, you do the brainstorming. That one we call ideate. Then you go for prototyping. Prototyping means whatever the brainstorming ideas, you quickly build to think and learn. That is called prototyping. Once you do the prototyping, you need to do the testing. Test with customers, right? And actually, you need to do all these things in order to score in this competition also. Directly or indirectly, you will be involved in this design thinking process. Of course, to help you, the participants, my colleagues have arranged a separate session for you in design thinking. And this is a thing which I explained to you. I no need to explain this further. Almost I come to end of my initial welcome note. Yeah. I wish you all the best and I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Vala.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bala. Truly an inspiring, welcoming remark.
Yeah, it
So-
really is. We're really interested in what have you been saying.
Yeah, we have the soft skill, hard skill, design thinking, and the 5 stages. I feel now more prepared to successfully graduate and yeah, do great in life. How about you, Joylyn?
I think like when Dr. Vala mentioned about the soft skill, I think I finally realized that one of our soft skill would be the communication skill. If not, we're not qualified to be the host for today, isn't it?
I would agree. Okay. So, moving on from Dr. Bala, we are going to our next speaker. Let us welcome our club president, Shafiq.
Welcome, Shafiq.
Hello. Oh,
Shafiq,
Shafiq, you're still on mute.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Am I
Yep.
audible?
Yes, it's good. It's good.
Yes.
All right.
good.
Thanks for tuning in to today's session. We are so excited to have all of you here. And thanks, Robert and Jolene, for your energy. I really liked it. And yeah, I will just give an introduction. I think you have also shared a bit more about Ideathon, and I will share little more details about what's Ideathon and what are the days will be, and what are the things that you will be doing in the upcoming days. Give me a while. Let me set it up. Okay. Cool. Hello everyone, my name is Shafiq. I'm the Developer Student Club Lead of PSB Academy, and I will be giving an introduction about what is this Ideathon about and what are the things that we are currently doing. So let me just move on to the thing about Ideathon, and I think Dr. Bala already shared about we have just started 5 or 6 months before. So we have started last year on October 2020, and these are the things that like there are a few things that we have did, and this is the biggest thing that we are currently doing. So we have did cloud strategy jams, cloud Android, and a lot of other strategy jams as well. And recently, we have did Singapore Android Weekend 2020, and then Firebase in Action for Southeast Asia region. And this is the biggest event that we are currently doing for 10 days long. Let me just share the theme of this Ideathon 2021. So as a DSC lead and for all the DSCs around the globe, we are required to build a solution for this solution challenge. We need to achieve any one of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals using one or more Google developer technologies. So our theme for Ideathon is same. The main objective of this Ideathon is to prepare the students and to help them build their projects working in a team rather than working alone or doing it in their own time or something. So having everyone together in a hackathon in a competitive place is a better place for you to build a solution, and it's also some kind of like training sort of things for you to prepare for the solution challenge. Okay, so these are the details about solution challenge. Solution challenge happen every year. So it starts from I think January to July, and there is a long timeline. So for the first 3 months, all the DSCs are required to do an info session, and we are required to do a hackathon or design day. That's what we are currently doing. And then after that, once we finish it, if the project is good and you feel like it's completed, you can submit your project for the solution challenge. Let me just share a bit more about what happened last year. I think last year's theme was quite different. It was about solving a problem that is faced by university, community, or just small scale businesses. But right now for this year, it is very specific. So it's gonna be mainly achieving any one of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals using Google technologies. So let me move on to the next slide. I think you have already seen the video. So I will just give you a quick introduction on the things that we will be doing for the next 9 days. So for the day one, today we have all the welcome keynote speakers, and we have speakers from all the Google community developers. So they will be sharing about Ideathon, or they will be also giving some introduction speech. And for the day two, on 13th of March, we have 3 different sessions. So it's going to be like a boot camp. So you will be you won't be starting any projects. So we just would like to give a training or boot camp kind of sessions for the newbies. So for the session 1 on the morning, you will be learning about an overview of Google Tech, mainly for Firebase, and then you will also be learning about 3 powerful Google Cloud products for your project. So right now, I think some of you might be aware of it, some of you might not be aware of it. So for this year, I think all the DSCs, whoever is doing the project, if you like to access the Google Cloud credit, you can apply for it. But at least only one person from a team can apply for it. If you apply, then you will get the access code to use Google Cloud for your project. So this session might be useful if you are interested to use Google Club. So make sure to join the session 1 in the morning. And there is session 2 where you will be learning about what is 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So you should know what you're going to do. Then only you can build a solution or achieve a goal. So that's the main purpose of that session 2. So make sure to tune in to that session as well. And lastly, it's a special session for day 2. We have invited panel discussion speakers from the solution challenge winners last year. There will be speakers from, I think you may, if you have seen our Instagram or social media pages, I think speaker from Vietnam, Pakistan, and Indonesia will be joining. Check out our social media pages for more details about it. And for day 3, this is where your project will get started. So you got a training and you are trained yourself. And if you're a newbie, this is the chance for you to get started and get practical and to learn new things. So for day 14, our project will be get started. And then for day 15, once you brainstorm your idea, we will be providing you Pitchpot. Pitchpot is a platform for you to brainstorm your idea. So it will have a lot of like business canvas model or social business canvas model. So and that is also SWOT analysis. So you can think of your solution in you can brainstorm better using Pitchpot. So Pitchpot is a platform for you to brainstorm all your ideas and to finalize your ideas. So once you finalize your ideas and get started with your project, on day 4, 15th of March, there will be a mentoring session. This is only for the participating team and not for all the webinar attendees or session training attendees. So this is only for the participating teams. There will be a mentoring session. It will be happening on Airmeet, and Airmeet is a platform for I think it's a platform for the virtual rooms, and it will be much easier for you to hop on from one room to another in online itself. So it will be happening over there, and we will be sending you the instructions for Airmeet later on after the session. So for the mentoring session 1, there is a different sort of criteria, but maybe just to give you a tip, you can get started, building your solid idea first. So focus on one. Don't have a broad goal. Just focus on one because you only have a short span of time, which is 10 days, even less than 10 days. So you need to build within the timeline, and you should have a future plan as well if you're going to continue it. So make sure to have a proper plan and make sure that you're focusing on one problem and you're trying to solve it. So your solution can be as simple, maybe a simple application or a website, but it should solve a problem that exists. So that's the thing. Your idea can be very big, but if it doesn't solve a problem, it won't be successful. And if it doesn't serve the need of community, or if it doesn't serve the need of a user, it won't be useful, or it won't be able, you won't be able to get a users for your application or a website. So make sure to target on the problem. Your idea can be smaller, but if it solves a problem, then it's a great idea. And to improve your ideas, there is also design thinking session, and then there is also using Google Sprint methodology session. So in these 2 sessions, you will be learning sketching your prototype and building your front end and so on. All right. So for the day 6, there will be a break. Your project activities will continue, and there will be some of the activities we will be doing in our Discord channel. And on day 6, like 17th of March, there will be a mentoring session and training session on Airmeet or Discord. So right now, we will be sending you the details as I shared earlier. So right now, you have already got your idea, the solid idea. So what you have to do next, you need to think of your prototype. What are you going to do with your idea that you have? And what are the things that you are going to do for your future plan? And you need to build it within 2 days. It can be a code, or it can be a simple just a front end. You don't have to finish it fully, but if you have the proper plan, we will definitely accept it. So to give you an idea about technical side, so in the previous session you learned some of the non-technical things like 5 stages of design thinking, and then using Google Design Sprint methodology. Now you are moving into the technical side. So we're going to teach you about technical side, and there will be speakers who will be teaching you about UI and UX and building beautiful apps with Flutter. There will be Flutter developer expert, Google developer expert for Flutter, who will be joining to explain you about how to build an application by using Flutter. All right. So next, on day 8 is going to be on 18th of March. Your project building activities continues, and this is where I think you will be. You're very close to submit your project, and in 18th you will also be submitting your project, and on 19th of March, top 5 teams will be announced, and there will be 2 different sessions. So now you got your idea, you got your technical, technical ideas as well, and you have built some of the prototype, and you have started working on the technical sides. Now you need to know once you build it, how you gonna move your idea to the market, and what you're gonna do with it. If your idea is successful with your group, it can be you can be a person who like building a startup with your group of people that you have formed, or it can be a great idea. It can make a great impact if the project is really good. So those are the things that we will be giving you on the day 8 on 19th of March. And then there's a final day. So the final day will be happening on our channel, as well as, if it's possible, we'll be hosting it here. So the final day pitching will be starting from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. and the winner announcement will be on 4:30 p.m. So those are the details for the 9 days. And if you have any questions, you can ask me right now in the call. So I will just try to answer all your questions. So let me just stop sharing from here. So right now is a time for you to ask any question if you have any.
Wow, thank you for the insight on the Ideathon, Shafiq. So if you guys have any questions regarding the briefing, you guys can either comment now, or you can contact any of our socials in the banners down below. Where's the banners?
Okay.
Just give
Thank
it a
you,
second.
Julie.
There we go. We have
Yeah,
our
right
Instagram,
here.
our YouTube, our Facebook, and our LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You guys can
Yeah.
contact those if you want to. And you
Yeah.
guys can follow our Instagram for more infos. We can give out like Instagram stories info regarding the Ideathon, or maybe other events too.
So yeah, I think all the details are on Instagram right now. I just shared about a simple timeline. It might be it might not be a lot because I didn't add all the speakers details and so on. So as Joelyn said, go follow our Instagram page and all the social media platforms to receive the updates.
Yes.
Okay, so what's your plan for this Ideathon, Joelyn? What are you going to do for this Ideathon? What are you planning to do?
Maybe I'm just gonna see the live streaming for tomorrow night, because the 3 speakers is very interesting and it sounds fun. I'm gonna tune in. You guys should also tune in for tomorrow night. Make sure to tune in.
Yeah,
What you're
definitely.
For me, well, I have joined a team, so definitely will be
Wow.
tuning in as well in this Ideathon. And yeah, I'm excited to see what the speakers are going to present and how, to better do this project.
Ooh.
Yes.
We got
So,
a lot
Shafiq.
of comments now. You can
Yeah,
see on
yeah.
the
Let's see the
side.
comments.
Wow.
Okay.
You guys are excited.
Okay,
If you guys are excited, we're also excited too, right?
Okay.
Yes,
Just pull out
of
like one by
course.
one all the comments.
You
Okay, this
guys
is
can see on
Jason.
the bottom of the screen the comments. Wow, we have Kaushal Mishra said nice.
Thank you, Kaushal Mishra. And there is Dharma. He say,
Ooh.
he's excited also.
Woo.
Dharma is excited. Kura Ninja
Okay.
also.
Oh, is it a name?
I think it's a username handle.
Ah, okay. Okay, there is also
Wow.
a senior guy who texted. And oh wait, let me pull out Jason's comment.
Wow, seems like
Oh,
we have a lot
Jason.
of engagement here.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's pretty cool. Feel free to drop
Yes.
out your questions over there. If you have any questions,
Yeah.
do drop it out, and I will be answering all your questions in the call. Let me just answer few of the questions that we have received via our Instagram channels. So I think some of you have been asking, is Ideathon and then is our solution challenge is the same or not? Ideathon is part of solution challenge. It's not the same event. So let's say I just give you an example, the timeline. So for the first 3 months, we are required, all the DSCs are required to do an info session, and then there will be a hackathon or design day next. I think that's what we are currently doing. Am I right, Joelyn? Robert?
Yeah.
So after that, if your project is good, you can submit your project for the solution challenge on by 31st of March.
Wow,
I
that is
think.
interesting.
Yeah, is there anything that I missed?
I think you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Mhm. Okay, I think those who won the competition, if they submit right, they will go to the next stage, which is like top 50 final, top 50 members. So it's like a next stage, next
Wow.
phase that you will be moving. So let's say you got selected for the next stage. It will be happening from April to I think July. So the top 50 teams will be trained by the Google developer expert and Googlers, and I think after that you will be, if you go to the top 10 teams, then you are going to rock it.
So
Robert,
just to
you should
confirm
go for
this,
the gold, Robert.
Yeah.
oh, for sure, Jordan. I'm aiming for it.
Go for
So
a
just to
goal, Robert.
confirm, this is the top
Mhm.
10 is all over worldwide top 10 teams, or
Oh
are
yeah.
we talking just about Singapore?
Okay. I think don't get confused as the worldwide or top 10. I mean, all the DSCs are going to submit the project. So the hackathon that they organize in the first 3 months it can be within campus. For example, uh, our DSC is organizing a hackathon, and there are other DSCs in Singapore like DSC NUS and DSC SMU. They are organizing some of the hackathons in their own school. So those are inter-school
Ah,
competitions for the first 3 months to train the students within campus. And I think after that, once that is done, I think if if like let's say all the DSCs will be submitting their projects on 31st of March, and it's a global competition, so all of them will be submitting. It's not only within school; it's overall. So you just
wow.
imagine how many teams they will get or how many projects they will receive in this short span of time, and they have to select 50 top
It
50.
would be very
Wow.
hard.
Yeah.
That is why good luck to all our participants. Hope that one of you guys or a bunch of you guys can be selected to this top 10 team or top 50.
Mm, yeah.
Cross our fingers. You guys can make it.
Yes.
Yay! This year, I hope Singapore will enter the top 10 or top 15. You know, last year a lot of teams, but I think last year Singapore didn't able to get through the top 50 teams. But yeah, I hope this year maybe someone who participated in this Ideathon get through the top 50.
Robert.
Oh, don't spoil the surprise. They might be shocked. They're like, oh, it's the host. He's cheating. He has some back channel
Lola.
connection or something.
All right,
Yes,
I
but
think
good luck to all
we
of
have
us.
some questions.
Okay.
Can I get some rice balls?
Wow. Can I get some rice balls? Well, you can get your own rice ball via Grab if you want to on your
Yeah.
preferred restaurants.
If you're hungry, yes, get it. You can just order it and watch your stream.
Yeah.
Okay, that is one more question.
When is the boot
Kaushal
camp?
Mishra. All right, so the boot camp is tomorrow from morning 10 a.m. to 9 o'clock. Yeah, 9 o'clock. So there will be 3 different sessions. So in the morning from 10 a.m. to 11:30, there will be sessions which will be happening on Zoom, and there will be topic like all you need to know about Firebase, and then there will be topic about Google Cloud. So because the main reason there is a offer for this year if you apply for the competition, and you can get access for the Google Cloud to use for your project. So that's why we would like to teach about that. And there is some other sessions like you need to know about what you're trying to solve. You need to understand the theme first. So to get you into the understand all the themes, there will be a session on what are the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and there will also be session on using Pitchport. There will be a session on specifically on the quality education. So we have invited a speaker from I think he's from Singapore, but he went to all the different countries to
Oh
serve.
yeah,
You
I
know.
remember seeing the post on
Mm.
Instagram.
Oh
You
yeah,
guys,
I think
yeah, if
it's
you
Mr.
guys want to
Alex.
know, if you
You
guys
want to
want to
share a bit more
know
about Jolene?
for
You
the
yeah, Alex, the one guy who
oh
went to all the countries to serve.
wait, I think I need to pull up some cheat sheet.
All right, I will share a bit more about it. I think he's a very good mentor, and he's also a person who mainly focus on education. I think he went to all the countries, all the underprivileged countries or developed countries, and to improve the quality education over there. And it will be better from a person who served, and it's better to hear from a person who really worked on the field. So yeah, I think in the last there will be top 2020 solution challenge top 10 finalists who will be joining our session as well.
Yeah, that is the
Wow.
most interesting part that I'm looking forward to. We can have the panel discussion. Oh, by the way, Shafiq, I think there is someone asking a question.
Oh, okay. Let me pull it up.
Can the alumni join this program?
Oh, interesting
Oh.
I
question.
think okay. Unfortunately, this event is only for all the PSB Academy current students and the Google DSC members in Singapore. But our other events are open to all, open to alumni, staff, and students. But this event is mainly for the current students because we would
Maybe
like to also help them in the final year projects as well. So yeah, go ahead, Robert.
could he join as a advisor or something like that to help one of the teams?
Okay, I think that's a good question, but I think it's possible if they are your friend and if you know the members, you can get advice from the seniors.
Okay. All right. So you can join, but just as an advisor.
Yeah, correct. But not as a main advisor, not as an official advisor. But if they are your friend, if you know the team, you can support them in terms of giving some mentoring or from your end, the things that you learn. For example, if you're a cybersecurity student or first year, and you are the person who did finish and you're currently in a working space, you know what are the things that need to be done. You can guide them.
Oh.
All right. Wow.
Yeah, I think those are the details. If you have any more questions, please just send it in the comment. We will be answering all your questions.
Yeah, or if you're shy, you can just contact us personally on our Instagram and we will answer you.
Yeah. All right.
Our Instagram and all the socials are down below, right there.
Down below.
Okay, I think they can just contact me and I will just get in touch with them, or we can just connect on social media platforms. So I'll take a leave. Good luck, all of you who is participating in this Ideathon 2021. Take over, Jolene and Robert. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, Shafiq. Thank you very much for sharing and answering all those questions. Okay, so I wonder who do we have now, Joylene?
Well, we have our third speaker, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Next
Let us
up, we have
welcome.
our third speaker who will be talking about the project building. Please
I heard
give a
he's a
warm
great
welcome
speaker.
to Mr. Ong Chin An. Woo! Cue the claps. Hi, Mr. Ong.
Hi everyone. Hi, good evening, TGIF. So, welcome everyone, and thanks Shafiq and the teams, Jolene and also Robert for hosting this opening ceremony for this Ideathons 2021. Right. So basically, this evening I'm going to share with everyone, especially the contestant and the challenges on the challenges that some of the key idea or maybe some hints or tips that how you can actually expedite or to make your idea much more clearer and to make your project more successful. Right. So yep. So my title for this sharing is going to be the project building. Right. So maybe Jolene or Robert, you can share this slides. Right. So Basically, I'm Ching An, right? So basically, currently I'm the program leader and also the lecturer in the School of Engineering and Technology, PSB Academy. So I'm looking after the program in diploma, right, in IT and network defense, forensic automation, right? And I basically teach some IT subject as well, right? So like what I mentioned earlier on, so this evening I'm going to share with all of you, especially the challenges on some tips, right, on this project building, right? Because and I understand that for the subsequent day, you're going to be introduced some Google technologies or some additional soft skills that how you can actually present your ideas or how you actually materialize your prototype, right? So basically what I'm going to share with everyone this evening is something in the beginning when you first start your project, right? So generally, I'm going to share with all of you when would you have a project, right? So because sometimes we may have some doubts, like what is considered a project, or when we were going to have a project, right? So that would be the first area. And then the second one is why do a project fail, right? So basically, I try to kind of like highlight some of the area or some of the common mistake that probably students or some project members tends to fall into this pitfall, and therefore their project kind of like not so successful, right? And the third area will be how to propose a good project, right? So I'm going to share with everyone one techniques or one of the philosophy by these very inspiring speakers, right, on how to propose a good projects. And lastly, I'm going to share with everyone some key takeaway, right, so that before you move into the implementation or even the design of your prototype, you will be able to be aware on what are the things that you need to take notes, right? So that your project is going to be executed successfully and gracefully, right? So the first area will be on when will you have a project, right? So basically, when we trying to do something, actually we are doing some projects. Might be, you're trying to buy some products from Shopee, that could be a project as well, right? So because you have a purpose, right? So why do you go to Shopee or go to Lazada, right? So of course you want to do something, you want to buy something, so you have a purpose, right? And then you're going to research, you're going to learn how these tools works, and you're going to try it out, right? And then you're going to reflect like, okay, how it works and so on, and eventually you get your the goods that you want to buy, right? So this is even this a small gesture or this small task can be considered as a project as well, because you've gone through the kind of like the project process, right? You try to understand what you want, and then you try to design the step, and then you execute it, and then you test and so on and so on, right? All the way until you involve in this kind of a mega project, like probably you're going to develop or construct a modern pyramid, for example, right? Mega project, mega structures kind of thing. So what I will say is that when you have a problem to solve, then you will have this kind of a real world or life project, right? So it's very important that you need to be able to know what is the problem that you're going to solve, right? So when you have problem that you want to solve, then you have a project, right? So apart from then you may sometimes you may curious on something, right? And you wish to understand how this thing works, right? Out of your curiosity, you want to figure out why this thing happened and why that thing happens, right? So when you're trying to find this kind of answer, it's also considered as a project. And this kind of project is what we call the research project, because you're trying to do some research, and you try, because those are something that you are not familiarized with, and then you will want to dive deeper and try to understand the context, and then eventually you try to do some experiments, and then you try to do some observations and to formalize your findings, right? So this is something like what we call the research project, right? And of course, sudden sometimes we may have some interest that we may want to get involved in, and maybe we want to solve our own problem, right? Or maybe some kind of tiny projects, right? But with some purpose and some outcome, right? So this will be something what we call the pet project and also the personal project. So as you can see here, we will actually have different kind of projects, right? From real world or real life projects. for research to figure out or to find out answer, and all the way until a very tiny or even micro, macro, or even nano projects, right? That you just want to execute it to fulfill your own desire or your own needs or whatsoever, right? Something like you buy something from Shopee or Lazada. Okay, so this is when you have project to work with, right? So when we have a project to work with, we will probably go through some kind of processes, which I think in the next few days, I think other speakers is going to share with everyone a little bit more details. What are the processes and what are the stages that you can follow through and to go through it properly. So the next area that I'm going to share with everyone will be on why do a project fail, right? So we see that from time to time we see someone do some project or someone do some or propose some ideas and so on, but sometimes the idea kind of like not so promising, or even they may not be able to materialize, right? So here I'm just going to generally highlight a few key points on why basically a project will fail, right? The first key point that I think majority of project fail is because of identifying the wrong problem, right? So when you're trying to solve a problem, you need to make sure that you know what is the problem that you're trying to solve, right? The project fail is because we don't understand the problem, right? So this is always happen, right? If you try to recall whatever project you have done in the past that probably you did not complete, or probably you may not be able to finish it, or it fails, and you try to recall and to reflect, see whether or not you are actually identifying the correct problem or not. And most of the time, we are identifying or we're trying to formulate, defining the wrong problem. That's why the project failed. So whatever solutions that you develop is not going to work anyway, right? Because the first stage is already wrong, right? Therefore, whatever you do is not going to work. So there are a few reasons why we kind of like identifying the wrong problem, or we don't understand the problem, right? So mainly probably you did not specify or didn't define a clearer goal or the objective, right? Another possibility is that probably we did not specify or define the problem more specifically, or we won't be able to define the milestones, or the milestone is not measurable, right? So in this case, you won't be able to know when are you going to complete the project, because you did not see the finishing line, right? And therefore, defining the goals and the objective is very important, as well as identifying what is the problem that you're trying to solve. So as a project members or project leaders, you must always keep yourself and your team aware of the project that you're trying to solve. And another possible reason would be like, fuzzy problems, right? So sometimes we have defined some problem statements, but probably the problem statement again is very fuzzy or very abstract that, we cannot measure, and we won't be able to specifically explain what are the problem. And sometimes we tend to imagine the problem exists, but in actual fact, probably the problem doesn't really exist, right? And sometimes we also define some problem that is baseless, without any scientific proof or support or reference, or even news and so on, right? So this could happen as well. The next one will be on very common as well, is a poor planning, right? So if you fail to plan your project properly, basically you are planning to fail, right? So if you didn't go through a proper planning stage, then you won't be able to know what you're going to do, what each of the members need to do, and when they need to finish up their tasks and their the assignment that is given. And there's no way how the teams can collaborate, and everything will collapse as it is, right? And that's the reason, right? So you don't have any clear directions, and also measure for the project completions. That's why the project doesn't really works as it is. And another possibility will be no review, right? So people tend to execute the plan probably, but they didn't go and reflect and review whether or not whatever that they have done is kind of like okay, good, poor, need improvement, or excellence, right? So all these review and reflections are very important. Might it be a small task, big task, milestones, and so on. And probably we may also lacking of some mitigation plan, right? So when we plan, we need to make sure that we have plan B. right? Because things usually doesn't go as it is, right? Sometimes and something that we didn't foresee may happen, right? So this is very common, when I teach in classes, and when I say, okay, students, this is the due date for this particular assignment, right? So they kind of like expecting that, okay, everything will work fine during the last minute, so they submit in the last minute, and then chances that the PC may break down, internet may not works as it is, and so on. So this kind of things will probably happens, right? So as a team or a project team, you need to be able to come up with plan B or even plan C as a mitigation plan, right? So that your when bad things happens, you have alternative and you have a backup pathway to complete your projects. And the third key point will be adopting the wrong tools to solve the problem, right? So as you can see in the figure here, if you're trying to do something, but if you use the wrong tools, obviously you won't get the result, right? So why people tend to use the wrong tools is probably they are not familiarized with the tools, right? Or the solutions, right? So if you are not familiarized with the tools, definitely you don't know how to operate it. You don't know how to make or apply the solutions to solve your problem, right? Another possibility would be, people tends to be kind of like ego, arrogant, or overconfident because probably they already kind of like used to certain kind of technology or certain kind of tools or idea or so on. So they tends to stick with the same idea that they used to solve the previous project into the new projects. So this kind of mechanism sometimes may not work as well. So it is very important, to open up your heart and to take new ideas and probably take new technology or to test new technology to see whether or not this new technology might be able to probably better solve your problem or new problem, because normally problem tends to evolve, right, from very simple all the way to complicated. You might be solving a similar problem as what are the problem that you have solved before, but problem can mutate as well. It's just like virus, So vaccines sometimes may not work with newer virus. So the idea is more or less the same. So you may need to open up your your heart to accept new technology, new solutions, and try to apply it to the problem, right? So in that sense, you have to make sure that you yourself will be familiarized with the tools and the solutions. And the fourth one will be unable to convey the idea effectively, right? So sometimes, we are very good in technical skills. We are very good in using the tools, but the challenges will be sometimes we do not know how are we going to convey the message to the audience, right? So we can come up with very impressive applications, but if we won't be able to train our user, then user may find it hard to use, or maybe they do not know how to use it, or they don't even probably be able to understand the usefulness of the idea or the products that you have developed. Therefore, communicating the ideas is very important as well. So this is kind of like the soft skill that I think early on Dr. Bala has shared with everyone. So good communication is a bridge between the confusion and clarity. So you must be able to know how to formalize and how to arrange your idea in a sequential manner so that your message can send across to your audience, and subsequently they understand what you're trying to convey. There are a few reasons why sometimes a presenter won't be able to convey their message to the audience. So probably they're trying to cover everything at once, right? So in that case, you may need to break down your very complicated ideas or your very complicated solutions into smaller pieces, and then you try to deliver it pieces by pieces, right? It's just like probably this particular sharing sessions. I was invited to share with everyone how to build projects, but I'm not going to go through every single tiny details. So I'm just trying to give everyone a high level overview, and I'm trying to provide some sharing or some key points for the first or the earliest stage on project executions, which is the problem identifications and the problem identifications. And of course, sometimes we won't be able to communicate properly because of lacking of preparations, right? So therefore, it is very important to do some rehearsal or to prepare yourself, right? To practice and to get feedback from the peers to see how you can improve or how you can make the idea shorter, sharp, clear, and straightforward, so that your audience will be able to capture what you're trying to explain to them. Okay. And another possible reason will be probably you do not know what you are trying to explain as well, right? So if you do not know what you're trying to explain, definitely your audience won't be able to understand what you're trying to say as well, right? So these are probably some of the key reasons why a person won't be able to communicate idea effectively. So these are some of the point that probably before you pitch your idea during the presentations, you may want to take notes, and you will be able to see like how you can actually improve your presentations. Okay, so basically, right now I have shared with everyone like what are the key important points that contribute to the failure, and how we're going to go about it, right? So now you already know. Okay, I need to identify the problem precisely, accurately, and then I need to be able to come up with a good planning. I need to know how to use a good tools, right tools to solve the problems, and I need to be able to know how to communicate the problems to the audience and communicate the solutions to the audience. So where should we start, right? So I'm going to share with everyone on this ideology that, introduced by this motivational speakers, Simon Sinek. And what he finds is that whenever we need to communicate an idea, right, we need to start with the why. Right, so basically, this author has this speaker has written a book called "Start with the Why," and in fact, this is a very old book, but I still find it relevant until today. And if you are free later on, or if you cannot sleep later on, then probably you may want to look at his speech or his talks in the TEDx, right, back in 2009, right? So I think is still very relevant, right? So I'm just going to summarize what he is trying to share with everyone and some of the techniques, how you actually start to define your project objective or your project goals, or even identifying the problems for your projects. So what he says is that usually every single organizations or every single teams or project teams, they tends to understand what they going to do, right? What are the products that they develop? Everyone's know what products that they do, right? Some of the organizations or some of the teams know only how they do. They know exactly 100% what they do, but some of them only know how it is done. And very little organization or very little teams are kind of like knowing why they come up with the products. Because most of the time we kind of like, we want to develop something, but we've forgotten why we develop it, right? So this is the typical way of modern organizations is actually creating a new products. So they know what they want to create, right? Probably they know, okay, this is something that will make good money, but they do not know how they don't really know how it works, and they obviously don't know why it is they're doing it, right? So what Simon Sinek kind of like advise everyone is trying to think from inside out. That means we start with why, right? Why? What are the pain points? What are the things that is currently needs in the society? And then we try to explain how it works. And lastly, we introduce our products, right? So this is what he called the golden triangle, right? So it's divided into three stages. So you have the first stages, which is the why, right? That's why the book title called Start with the Why, right? So you need to be able to communicate with your audience. Why do you do it? Why? What are the pain points that the people's or your target audience is currently facing, right? Try to attract their attention first, right? And then you try to explain to them how their pain point can be resolved, right? What are the solutions that is available, or what are the ways that you can fulfill your target's audience desires and also their needs. And lastly, only that you introduce the products that you have that is going to help to resolve their problems or to fulfill their desire, right? So this is what we call the golden triangles, right? So of course, he has a lot of example So here probably I'm going to give you a very quick example, right? So let's say if I'm IoT companies, I would like to create IoT hydroponics plantations kits, right? So I'm going to sell this kit to everyone so that they can plant their own food and they can consume the food themselves, right? So if I start with the what, right? So I'm going to present my products. Like, okay, this is the product that I'm going to have, right? Our company basically create these hydroponic pots that you can, then that is the what, right? The products that I am trying to sell to you and how it works, right? So basically, if you plant your veggie into this plant, and then our sensor is going to detect and will be able to monitor and so on. So that is the how, right? How my products works and why my products is needed, right? Then if I go into that way, I'm going to explain to you, okay, you need this because, all right, you'll be able to monitor your plant so that, if anything happens, our server will notify you or so on, so that you can, intervene or to do something like that, right? So that is the typical way how the modern organizations or the current organization actually selling their products or selling their idea. They go from outside in, right? They start with the what, and then they explain to the audience how the products works, and then they explain to the audience why they need the products, right? So let's say if now I try to reverse the way, right? I try to reverse the way how I convey the idea, right? So I start with the why, right? So basically, everyone wants a healthy life, right? Everyone wants a healthy life. So most of the time, we want to consume organic foods because that is healthy, right? At times, we may also want to have a joy to have our own, plantations so that we can, plant our plant ourselves, and eventually we can consume it, right? So that we have some satisfactions and we can treat it as a hobby as well, right? So that is the why, right? So I start with the why, and then the problem is probably a lot of people may don't know how to plant, right? Because they are not farmers, they do not have probably agriculture background. Therefore, they tends to fail in the plantations by themselves, right? However, if there is someone who will be with you all the while to tell you, okay, now your plant is having low water, right? And probably your plant does not have enough sunlight, then you will be able to do some mitigations, right? Then your plant will be able to grow better, right? So that is the how, right? So I'm telling you, if someone is with you, and then they will be able to tell you what to do all the while so that you can optimize your growth, that will be a good suggestion, right? So what happened is that I'm going to tell you that our company have this kind of AI-powered hydroponics kits, right? Whereby you just need to plant your seeds to the pots, and this information is going to be transmitted to our server, and our server is going to send you the signal through your mobile phone, telling you that your plant does not have enough water, your plant doesn't have enough sunlight, and so on. Then that is the products that I'm trying to sell to you, right? So if you try to recap what I'm trying to explain to you just now, from the difference between from outside in to inside out, you will find that the effects will be slightly different, because you will probably first get attracted with the pain point, right? So if I manage to hit your pain point, and I manage to explain to you how your pain point can be resolved, and lastly, I introduce you the tools or the products that I'm trying to sell you to solve your pain point, probably you'll be more convincing. You'll be more convinced to get my products, rather than I first tell you, okay, we have these products, and this is how it works, and this product is going to help you to solve the problem, right? So this is basically the idea or the techniques that probably you can adopt in your Ideathon for these challenges, right? So now you know where to start with, right? So you also need to ensure that your project solutions will create a significant impact, right? For example, the solution will provide some social impact, right? This means it's going to contribute to the society, or it can be contributing to the economics, might be national economics or even global economics, as well as environmental impact. So whatever solutions or whatever idea that you're trying to ideate, during these particular competitions, you have to make sure that you will be able to relate it to certain kind of context, right? Might be social, economics, or environmental, which I think in the next few days, there will be one speakers to share with everyone on the 17th United Nations Sustainable Goal, right? So these are some of the area that you can looking at, okay? And your solution must be also supported by the facts, and it has to be realistic as well, right? So try not to propose something that not so realistic, or maybe like so futuristic, too much futuristic. Futuristic is good, but if you go over, then probably it's a bit too much, right? Okay, so these are some of the example, right? So I won't go into very detailed. So basically, if you want to come up with something that has social impact, probably you may want to use technology to help the people in need, or to improve people well-being, right? Things like healthcare, poverty, quality education, quality of life, smart nations, equality versus equity, disaster management and monitoring, and so on. So these are the areas that probably you may want to look into, and you can actually think about it on how to solve those problems. On the economy aspect, you can probably use the technologies to boost or stimulate the economics, right? So areas that you can probably look at will be something like digital economics, sharing economics, digital transformations for SMEs, national economics blueprints, right? So if you are in Singapore, probably you may want to understand the national economics blueprints for Singapore, or even your home country. Then you'll be able to propose some idea how these blueprints can be materialized, or how this economic can grow and to expand at scales, right? And probably something like a job opportunity as well, or maybe some areas like fintechs and so on, right? So these are the areas that you can look into if you want to create some solutions for to have impact in terms of economics. And lastly is the environmental impact. So basically you're trying to propose some ideas and to use technology to preserve or to protect the environments and nature, right? So we all know that we have a lot of problem like the greenhouse effects, global warmings, right? How you can actually make use of technology to promote green energy, oceanographies, pollutions, waste management, recycle, disaster prevention, and monitoring, right? So these are the areas that probably you can look into, like maybe the early tsunami alerts kind of stuff, right? Okay, so basically that's the kind of like a key important area, or the earlier key points that probably all the teams can try to take notes and be aware of before you really go into the implementation and so on, right? So in summary, I just want everyone to be able to identify the problem correctly, right? When you try to come up with your ideas or your proposal, right, for this solution challenge, right? So try to identify the problem correctly, be very specific. And how do you be specific? So you can adopt the SMART frameworks, right? So I'm not going to talk very details about it, so you can try to Google it, right? So what does it mean by SMART frameworks? And then always ask yourself, right? Why this problem worth solving it? Does this problem actually create, is your solutions really create significant improvement to the problem that you're trying to solve, and it's going to create impact to the society, economics, or environments, right? So you ask yourself, right? Keep asking yourself, right? So you can start with the why. Why do you come up with these solutions, right? The third one is also very important because when you get excited, when someone tends to get excited, they tends to go into the coding immediately, or go into the implementation immediately without going through the proper process, right? So in other words, don't jump directly into the pool, right? So plan first and try to observe your surrounding, right? So have anyone done it before? If yes, how do they do it, right? Is there any better ways to do it, right? So if sometimes we tend to get excited, like, okay, we thought of some problem, then we immediately think of some solutions, and then we go and implement it. But in actual fact, probably someone else already done it and probably done better than you. So when you try to present your idea, you get bombarded by maybe the judges or whatsoever that, okay, actually this solution already there, and people are already using it, then you kind of like get demotivated. So where possible, try to observe, right? Try to observe your surrounding. And lastly, communicate, right? Communicate and present effectively by practice, review, and practice again. So remember, you need to always be able to communicate your idea correctly, right? So try to practice more on communications, because nowadays communications is very important. Communication skill is very important. If you cannot, or if you won't be able to communicate your idea clearly, especially during these ideathons, then you tend to lose a lot of marks, because the judges may have no idea what you're trying to solve, right? Even though probably you can identify the problem clearly, but if you cannot explain how your solution works or how the steps works, then probably you may not be able to get good mark as well, right? So basically, these are the 4 key important points that hopefully all of you can take away from this sharing. And with that, I look forward to the next innovative big things that created by you and your teams. And thank you, and all the best to all the teams. Right? So I hand over back to the hosts, Jolene and Roberts. And good luck.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ong, for the
Wow,
sharing.
thank you very much, Mr. All.
Wow.
Very,
That's so interesting,
very
right, Robert?
inspiring. Yes, yes, yes. I believe that he covered a lot of topics. Yeah, and like you summarized it very well. Identify, ask why, observe, and communicate. Wow, what would you think is your strong suit, Joylene, from these 4 topics?
I'm not really sure either, actually. How about you answer first, and then maybe I will answer.
Okay, for me, I would say observe. But now let us try to implement what we learned and ask Mr. Ong. I would like to ask you, first of all, why, as you said before, ask you why. Why did you choose this major specifically? Why did you choose this path? Like, what inspired you?
So basically, I think I have following this motivational speakers Simon Sinek for quite some times, and apart from this start with why, he actually introduced many different concepts that we can actually adopt, and we can maybe apply in our real life as well. So some of the methods that he introduced, actually I already tried to apply as well, and I find it quite effective, right? Especially the start with why, right? Because we need to keep asking ourselves like, why we are doing this, right? We know that we need to come up with apps, right? And we are going to use maybe Google Cloud platforms. We're going to use a Flutter, but we tend to forget like why we creating these apps. What are the problems that we're trying to solve? And at times, if we go through this process, right, then we sometimes we can start. We will start like, okay, we have the apps, so what next? We will hang there and we ask each other like, okay, what's next? So we lost, right? We lost the directions and we don't know what to do, right? Therefore, it is very important for us to clearly understand what are the problems that we're trying to solve. That's the why, right? Why we are here today, right? Because we want to, come up with innovative idea. So how do we come with innovative idea, right? So we participate in these ideathons, right? And then we try to learn from each other. We have opportunity to meet other speakers to, probably they have some expertise in their areas. Then we can adopt all these ideas, and we will come up with our products, right? So from there, all of you will be able to learn something new, right? Because your main purpose, your main why is to grow yourself. That's why you take part in this particular ideathon, because you want to know more people, you want to learn new things, you want to challenge yourself, right? You learn why. What is your how, right? The how will be participating in the ideathon. And what is the products? Your product is create, and the efforts and the time that you spend during this ideathon. So that is the things that you are actually creating. by using this approach, right? You start with the why, and then followed by the how and the what. Yeah. So hopefully this, if you can try to, of course, at the first few attempts, you may not be able to apply this concept correctly. But if you keep trying, you eventually find it, this approach actually works very well. Start with the why. Then you whatever things that you created will be able to serve the purpose, and you will also be able to communicate easily because you have the why in your mind very clear.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
By the way, Robert,
Thank you
do
very
know
much,
that
Mr. Ong.
Mr. Ong is also a mentor and the judge in this Ideathon?
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Wow.
Yeah. So I mentioned these are the tips, right, for the challenge.
Wow, okay.
And
You guys must take note.
competitions.
Yeah, some
Oh,
backside
someone asked a
information here,
question.
guys.
Someone asked a question from Koa Bui. If we
Oh.
don't have enough skills but we have idea or solution, how can I help the team if I want to join the team? Mr.
Oh,
Ong?
very interesting.
I believe from this hackathon and Ideathon, because of hackathon and Ideathon, we do not expect you to come up with fully functional prototype or fully functional products, right? That's why communications are very important, right? You have a good idea, but if you cannot communicate your idea clearly, you may not win the challenge as well. That's why communication is very important. And how do you prove your idea works? That is also very important. Right? That's why you are expected to come up with prototype only. The prototype is used to prove your idea. So how do you cover the target audience that you're trying to address for your solutions? So this is the mechanism how you prove your idea by communicating or to share with the audience or the judges, or to explain to the judges how your products works. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully that
Also,
will answer Kwa Bui
yeah.
questions.
Someone also asked, someone summarized in nutshell, packing empathy in experience design. Is it correct?
It will be something similar to that, right? So if you look into the design thinking process, right, there is empathy in the first stage. It's kind of like also similar, like start with why as well. That's why I think in the next few days, I think you guys have already invited one speakers, right, talking about the process of design thinking. So I believe that particular session is going to be very, very, very interesting, and you can kind of like correlate the process of design thinking as well as the concept introduced by Simon Sinek. Start with why. Right? So if you have time, everyone, if you have time this evening, try to YouTube this title, Start with Why. Then you will be shown, I think mostly the first result is the talks by this guy, Simon Sinek, in a TED Talk, right? Back in 2009. So try to watch that video, about 20 minutes. Then you'll be able to better understand how you can apply his concept into your solution challenge, together with your design thinking process. Yeah.
Wow. Also, there is one more person's. It's his username handle is Kura Ninja. He or she said hello from your neighbor.
Hello from my neighbor. Oh, okay. All right. Hi. Hello, Kura. Nice to meet you. Right. We'll catch up someday. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So I guess he's close.
Yeah. Our next speaker is here already. Woo!
Oh,
thank you, Mr. Ong, for answering
thank you,
our
Mr.
questions.
Ong.
Good luck, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have an extra special guest here, live from the past, because New York City is 13 hours behind Singapore, so it's from the past. We're from the future.
Wow. I will just I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Okay.
Yeah, of course. So kickstarting our Ideathon 2021, far away from New York City, United States, Miss Erica Hansen. Cue the claps.
Woo!
Oh, we also have a special guest.
Yes,
Drew?
we also have Drew.
Oh, hi,
I wanted to bring him along too.
Hello.
How's everyone?
We're good. How about
Good,
you?
we're
How are
good.
you
Thank
guys?
you.
Awesome. Yeah, we're good too. We're doing well. Thanks for
Doing
having
well. Thank you so much. Yeah, Dhruv is also in the New York area. He's in
Wow.
New Jersey. Right.
Wow, Jersey.
Yeah, so awesome. We're
Thank
so
you for
happy to be
joining
here.
us.
Definitely. Thank you. And I really enjoyed hearing about, some of those great tips about the why, the how, and the what, especially starting with the why. So I'm really glad I was also able to be here and listen in.
Yeah,
Nice.
definitely. And one thing I do want to emphasize,
Great.
like Mr. Ong mentioned, is like, your solution does not have to be completed to the maximum, right? It just needs to be ready to go. You should just be able to prove your solution idea, like you mentioned. So that's one point I definitely want to emphasize.
Wow.
Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Definitely. Yeah, so we're
right.
so happy to be here with you, and I could probably introduce myself and have Dhruv introduce himself in case we probably haven't met a lot of you, but yeah, so I'm Erica Hansen. I lead the Developer Student Clubs program globally. I am based in New York. I've been at Google for over 14 years. It'll be 15 years in September.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a cool journey. I went straight to Google out of university. So I just handed in my resume at a job fair and started out. I majored in psychology and communication. So I come from a non-tech background, joined Google in sales, and eventually was able to move around to different teams. And I moved to London, was there for a few years doing sales operations, kind of project management work. And then I moved to Singapore, where I lived for 4 years. I was on the developer relations team. And hi, Shad. So cool to see you. Yes.
Hey, Shad.
Yeah, I love Singapore. And so I spent 4 years there focused on developers and managing some of our accelerator startup programs and Android programs. That's where I first learned how to beginner steps of building an Android app. I took a beginner Android course. I did take in college, I took a CS 105 course and learned how to build my first website. So didn't have much of a tech background, but now I'm a program manager in developer relations and able to use my background to help the team, focusing on communications, sharing the impact through stories. And so I wanted to share my journey, just to share that if any of you have not as much of a technical background, but have other skills, each of you has your own skill or something that you're passionate about, something you're interested in, something that you're good at, and all of you can bring something to your project team. If you're more like me and don't have that technical background, like I said, you still have a role to play. And Mr. Ong also mentioned that as well. If you're good at communications, that helps. Expressing here's the why. Here is the why of what we're doing and the how, and you can really use your teamwork skills as well to make sure everyone is working well together. So I wanted to share that just to say that each of you has a role, and to really focus on, what are you good at, and you all have an important role to play. So that's my background, and I'll say one more thing before I pass it to Dhruv to introduce himself. I now lead the Developer Student Clubs program globally. I'm sure you're all familiar, but I just wanted to emphasize that this is a global program. So you are part of a global community program. There's over 1,260 clubs around the world, just like yours, and in 105 countries. And so it really is global, which is cool. Yeah. So it's really cool. And students around the world are working on the solution challenge right now. And so I'm so happy that you have this Ideathon event. It's really cool and very important. So it's super cool. Yeah, thanks great to see you too. Yeah, Google Developer Space. I love the space there. I love it. And so, yeah, and right now students are working and looking at the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which is really cool. So I guess one fun fact, when I lived in Singapore, I started a community program for women called Geek Girl Meetup Singapore. I worked on that for 3 years, which was really fun. I don't know that they continued it after I left, unfortunately. But while I was there, we had a really cool core team. And so I'm very passionate about community. So that's introducing myself. I want to pass it to I'm so happy Drew was able to join as well. Thanks for coming, Drew.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, guys. Hey, everyone, my name is Patel. I'm the DSC Global Project Manager here in New Jersey, like we mentioned. I actually don't have that big of a journey with Google. I joined in April last year, so I'll be hitting my 1 year pretty soon. But cool thing about Google is, the fact that you're always learning. It still feels like I've been here a long time, just because of the amount of things I've learned and the amount of teammates I've met over the years. So really excited about the team and the journey so far. And just a little bit of my background. I do come from more of a technical side. So I did computer science in my college years, and then I went straight into a full stack developer role. And that's actually going to be one of my main topics today, is the importance of building projects and how that relates to especially like college students like you guys. So I did computer science in college. I started off as a full stack developer. I moved slowly transitioning into more of the project management side. So even at my first job, which was at Johnson & Johnson, it was as a full stack developer, slowly transitioning into a Scrum Master. And then my next job, it was a technical project manager at Verizon, which I worked for about a year, and then I joined Google. So again, I just, before I hand it back to Erica, just wanted to emphasize the importance of what it takes to build a project and why you should be doing that during your college years, especially for students like you guys.
Wow, thank you for the insights.
Thank you, Mr. Drew and Ms. Erica Hansen. It's very interesting to know that you guys are from different backgrounds. Like Ms. Erica, you did not have technical experience, and yet you were able to become part of the global DSC. Wow! And Mr. Drew, you had you started climbed your way up to the top, and now you're here. And it's just very, very inspiring to hear from both sides of how you guys reached the top.
Thank you. Yeah, it's cool to see, in our team, it's a mix of people. We're part of the engineering team, but you do see people from different backgrounds. So there really is a space for everyone. And, as a program manager, it's really just core, program management skills that you can apply to any industry. It doesn't really matter what it is. I happen to be in the tech industry. And so just learning those kind of skills. And I kind of have figured it out along the way as well. And just learning to be, teamwork and collaboration are key. And actually across any job, and even across this Ideathon, it's about teamwork and just being able to be a good teammate and make sure to keep everyone motivated and positive, and make sure everyone knows their role and has, something to be a part of and contribute, and that everyone's feeling happy and good about things, talking together about the why, talking together about, how and making decisions as a group. So I think that's something that I've learned. I love teamwork, love collaboration, and I think being able to work on projects and being a part of things like the Ideathon can really help with career later on. But yeah, specific to the Ideathon and the solution challenge, I did want to share a few thoughts on that. And I think, first of all, I'm so happy that all of you are here together and thinking about your projects. Drew will share a bit more about just the value of projects, but I just wanted to encourage all of you. I know some of you might be beginner level at anything that you're learning in terms of technology. You may be, there's no way to be an expert across everything, but even it doesn't matter what stage you're at and whatever level of technology you're learning or whatever programming language you're learning. It's just great that you're participating, and it's totally fine. There is a space for you, and there's something that all of you can contribute. So I just wanted to say that, no matter what level you are, it's great. I think you should all participate. And there's a chance for all of you to be creative in this and problem solve, and work on your communication and collaboration skills, because that's a key part of it. And really that why, and coming up with what problem do you want to solve for. Looking at the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals, there's so many cool options, and things that you could look at. No poverty, climate action, gender equality, good health and well-being, which is especially important over this last year, quality education. So there's so much within that. And when you think about a problem you want to solve for, think about which one speaks to you. Is there something that impacts maybe a family member or a friend, something that you can relate to? And then, just something that speaks to you. And then you can dive deeper into it and think about, okay, why? And then thinking through, like, what piece of this, what problem specifically within this do you want to solve for? And then you can come up with a how. So all of that to say, I think, there's a space for all of you, any level, and it's just great that you're part of this this Ideathon together. So I'm really excited, and it doesn't have to be completely finished as well. I know this was mentioned earlier. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's like anything is great. It's all about learning. You're learning through this process, and then building and putting what you've kind of learned into practice. But it's really about the learning experience and the teamwork. So I'm really excited to see what all of you build, and I'll pass it to Dhruv to share some of his thoughts on that as well. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. Thanks, Erica. Yeah, so I could get started and talk a little bit about, I guess, the importance of why you should be building solutions in your college years. Just a little bit of backstory. So, like I said, I did computer science in college. So I started off with not really knowing anything about computer science. In college, in my high school years, I did a computer science class where we'd learn simple HTML, a little bit of Java, but at that time, we really had no clue about what computer science it's all about, like what's programming. We had no clue about that. But I knew that was some type of the area that I wanted to lean towards in college. So anyways, the first year of college, I had my first Java class, which I got absolutely destroyed on. It wasn't a good experience to start off, just because I just felt overwhelmed by all the different technologies and different concepts in Java. But that was also a really good learning point and a turning point for me as well. It's just because I just spent a lot more time into it, and the more and more time I spend learning Java, the more and more I realize that this is a field I want to stick with. So just challenging yourself to begin your college career, whether it's just schoolwork or like projects, that's also really good to just get it all going. And then second thing I wanted to talk about was, I guess, the first project I ever built. So it was actually in, let me just turn the pings off. So the first project was, our family owns like a retail store. So this was back in 2013, and at that time we had no digital presence, right? So our store was just on Google Maps, so people could call and visit using like the directions. But we wanted to go one step further, and I took it as a learning opportunity for me to learn all about full stack development, right? Learn how to create a website from scratch. And one challenge I gave myself here was try to not use any existing platforms or any existing frameworks. So everything I wanted to build for the website for our store was going to be based on HTML, CSS, and then for the backend, it was going to be like PHP and using a MySQL database. And honestly, like when I started off, it felt like just like a hackathon. I started at around like 3 to 4 p.m. I think after my classes ended, and I was working all the way until 5 a.m. And that's why I feel like it's like a hackathon, because I'm constantly working on it without any breaks. And again, that was another learning point, and a really good value for my future was just knowing that I could pull something like that together. And again, of course, it wasn't done by that morning time, but it's I guess reassured me that, okay, this is a field I want to go in, and the sense of accomplishment that you get when you do finish that project is just incredible. So I do want to emphasize for you guys as well, like if it's not if you already did your first project, I'm sure you already know that sense of accomplishment that you get. But I do want to encourage, if this is your first time building something, then definitely try your best in submitting some form of solution. So anyways, I created the website, and even throughout college, that's what I was always interested in, just learning new technologies. Another big technology that I was really passionate about in college was Android development. We didn't really have anything related to Android in college back then. So this was from 2013 to 2017. We really didn't have any Android classes in college, but again, I just thought of an idea for a solution and applied it. I went just like my previous session with the website. It ends up being late nights, but I think that's the best way to like finish and learn things, is when you're just getting stuck constantly and you're Googling, watching YouTube videos. That's a really good way just to hop in by yourself. Or if you have a team, even better. But at that point, I was just by myself. But those long hours will definitely give you a whole different perspective of computer science and programming in general, just because the things you learn, right? Like programming is all about being logical, thinking about ways that you usually don't think about. So again, just hackathon, ideathons such as like these are perfect to get started like that. All that to say, like during college years, there was a lot of different projects that I always like took myself in, and it was never about creating the perfect one or changing the world or something like that. It was just learning new technologies and applying it to something real. So throughout the college, I did that, and then my first job, like I talked about, was with Johnson & Johnson as a full stack developer. And the first question they asked me during my interview was, what are the projects you created, or what have you done by yourself that you could showcase for your portfolio? And again, like the fact that I had the website, I had the couple of Android apps that I built, they were really impressed by that, right? Because this wasn't anything that I had to do, right? It wasn't something part of my computer science curriculum. Nobody forced me to do it, but the fact that I went out of my way to just build these projects for fun and just because I was passionate about, that's something what employers and anyone in the tech industry really appreciates. So again, that's one big point that I want to bring here. So I don't want to say anything like college work is not important, but they really they didn't ask me anything about college. They didn't ask me anything about how my classes were, what classes I took. They really didn't care about anything for my 4 years of computer science. They just cared about what projects I built, what are the technologies I'm passionate about, what are the technologies I've actually used in real life for real projects. So that was my whole journey. So that again, like bringing back to the whole point, is that don't be scared to start any technology. You're definitely going to be stuck for a couple hours, but just know that in the long run for your programming career, or even if you're not coming from a computer science background, just know that in the long run, this will really help you for your career development, because you'll have a lot more things to showcase on your resume. Employers love seeing things like that. But yeah, with that being said, thanks again for having me. Hopefully this inspired you guys to a little bit try harder and try to submit a solution, even if it's not perfect.
Thanks, Drew. Yeah, that's great that you have that experience as well, and you've built Android apps and worked on projects. And I agree. I've also heard that projects are important, and I know that having that on your resume eventually is really helpful, and something that different companies look at is just what projects were you a part of, what competitions were you a part of. So I know that the projects are definitely important. So there's definitely value, and a key thing really is learning. I know that you've formed into teams, and it's based on skill as well. I was just looking at was hearing about some of this from Shafiq. So that was like really cool to see how you've already been put together into teams based on skill and interest and projects you want to work on. So that's super cool. And yeah, so we're just so happy that you're part of this Ideathon, and I would encourage you to also, after this and later, to submit your project as part of the solution challenge. The deadline for that is March 31st, so you have some time. So focus on the Ideathon now, and later we'd love to see your project submitted through the solution challenge. Yeah, I think that's really it. We just want to encourage you to have fun as well. Make sure that you have some time to kind of smile and joke around a bit and get to know each other. But we want to make sure that you're also having fun. That's super important. But really, yeah, we're excited to see what you build. I'd say don't worry about it being perfect. It's really all about that learning journey and just get inspired as well by what you want to solve for and why. That's super cool that you have the space and time to just think about something. Okay, what do we want to solve for? Okay, what's the why behind this? And that's just so inspiring. I kind of want to work on a project too. It's like, there's so much to solve for. Technology has such a role to play in that. We could really solve anything. So that's super exciting that you've created this space and time to work on this. And there's so many really inspiring things to learn about the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals as well. And some interesting stats as well about why some of the problems are so important to solve for. So yeah, I'd say it's really exciting. Take a step back and think about, wow, it's so cool what we're solving for here. And just want to wish you good luck and have fun for this Ideathon. And I'm just so happy that we're here, and we really want to thank the developer student clubs and PSB Academy and all the DSCs in Singapore as well. So happy that all of you are together, and we're happy to be here. And thank you, Robert and Joylene. It's so nice to be here with all of you.
Thank you, Ms. Erica and Mr. Drew, for taking the time and waking up early, because I think it's like 8 a.m. at your time.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you for waking up early to kickstart our Ideathon and giving up some tips and tricks, I guess.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
Definitely. Thanks so much. And good luck, everyone.
Good luck, all. Thanks for having us.
Good luck, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Wow. That's really interesting, yeah, Robert? Like,
Yeah, very, very
listening
inspiring.
to all different speakers from Singapore and then from New York and from everywhere.
Yeah, I guess this is truly a global event, as you say.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
I guess time flies when you're having fun, huh? And we're at the
Yeah,
end
definitely.
of our welcoming event.
It sure is. Like 2 hour flies. Boom. Well, I guess this concludes the first day of Ideathon. And we'd like to thank all of the speakers for coming and sharing their insights.
Yes, we'll also like to thank all our sponsors and our partners as well. And so, yeah, with that, I guess we will conclude this Ideathon. Unfortunately, because of time constraints, we do not have time for Q&A anymore. So yeah, thank you all for joining us. And this is Robert.
And I'm Joylene. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you and bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, guys. Thank you.
Oh, wait. If you guys have any question, you guys can contact us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. And the link is down there. Wait, down there.
Oh. Right here.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Let's check out the solution challenge.
Let's do this.
Okay, I'll present my screen.
Welcome to the Google Developer Student Club's 2021 Solution Challenge. The mission of this challenge is to use Google technology to solve for one of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals, aiming to end poverty, ensure prosperity, and protect the planet. Win cool prizes, mentorship from Google, and swag. Get help along the way from Google at training events, code labs, and hackathons. Submit your solution by March 31st, 2021. Register today. We can't wait to see what you build.
Let's get started.
Hi everyone. The mission of this year's Google Developer Student Club Solution Challenge is to solve for one or more of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals using Google technology. Citing the official United Nations website, these goals are the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. They address the global challenges we face, including poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace, and justice. During this video, I will show you how you can research these goals and brainstorm ideas for your Solution Challenge project. So starting with the official UN SDG site, the first thing I suggest you do is click on each of the goals and read the challenges each goal faces. For example, Goal 1, No Poverty. This page will give you a good primer to the challenges we face on our road to no poverty. And down at the bottom of the page, you can take a look at the facts and figures and the breakdown of targets defined for each goal. There's also an infographic you can check out to get a high-level overview of the current state of things as it relates to the specific goal. Go over the rest of the goals to get familiarized with them and see if any ideas come to mind about solutions you can build using technology. If ideas do arise, write them down to brainstorm further later. Another great site that can really help you generate solution ideas is DIAL, which stands for Digital Impact Alliance. We're going to focus on two tabs, SDGs and the building blocks, but I urge you to look at the other tabs. They are just as useful for your ideation stage. Okay, so let's look at the SDGs tab and take a look at Goal 2, Zero Hunger. This goal has 8 targets, which help you focus on solving a certain aspect of the goal. For example, Target 1, which summarizes as end hunger by ensuring access by all people to good, healthy food all year round. Okay, so immediately ideas start to spark. Maybe you can build a charity app that either accepts donation-safe healthy food or accepts monetary donations dedicated to providing food. Or maybe you can build a volunteering platform that brings people together to help the community at risk. Brainstorm with your team and see what aspects of these problems you are familiar with, or maybe you have access to communities who are dealing with the challenge. Having personal knowledge of a problem will allow you to design solutions which are far more effective and easier to adopt. Now, let's take a look at Goal 10, Reduced Inequalities. Target 1, achieve and sustain income growth for the bottom 40% of the population at a rate higher than the national average. What a well-defined target. Okay, so now you can start brainstorming again on how you can achieve progress through technology here. Maybe you can build an app or a platform that educates people on financial and saving strategies. Or maybe you can help small businesses grow through education apps or e-commerce and marketing apps that are specific to your community. For example, in my community, the elderly struggle with finding online educational content, and I might consider building an elderly-friendly educational platform. This platform can potentially provide the elderly with equal opportunities at learning new skills and at increasing their income. You'll see that going through these web pages will spark many ideas in your mind. Write them down and discuss them with your team. See which idea really strikes a chord with your ability and your belief. You'll be working on this for a while. You want to solve a goal that you are passionate about or that's really close to home. In the next video in the series, I'll be going through a demo case study. I'll pick up an idea and simulate the steps my team and I will take towards a successful demo submission. I hope the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals inspire you to solve for your community in a meaningful way. We can't wait to see all of your demo submissions.
Speaking at an Airmeet event? Awesome! Allow us to help you with the basics of Airmeet. As a speaker, you will be provided with a unique speaker link to enter the Airmeet event. Click on the link, and you will directly enter the Airmeet. No sign-in required. In case you have any issues with the link, don't sweat. You can just enter the session directly and ask the host to invite you on stage as a speaker. Once you've entered the Airmeet, you will land in the reception area. The reception is the official welcome area of Airmeet. Here, you can see what's happening live on stage. Check out the public chat and DM the host of the event to learn about your schedule. Click the Sessions tab, and you will be able to see the Go Backstage button for the session you are mapped to. Enter the backstage to have a private conversation with the host before the event, do a dry run, or to simply test your audio, video, and presentation. Once everything is in order, the host will be starting the session. If the session is already live by the time you enter the event, you will be directly taken to the live stage. Once the session has begun, you can present your content, share your screen, and connect with participants via chat, Q&A, emoji reactions, live polls, etc. You can also request the host to play your pre-recorded content in the live stage. You can switch layouts and put highlight focus on a particular speaker. Participants can use the raise hand feature to request to share the stage with you and interact with you directly. Post your session, you can visit the lounge. The lounge allows you to interact with the participants and build meaningful connections through virtual tables and speed networking. And last but not the least, to ensure a seamless speaking experience, you're expected to log in with laptops and desktops with Chrome 79+, Firefox 76+, Internet Edge and Brave browsers with a minimum internet speed of 10 megabytes per second. If you are in an unsupported browser or device, you will not be able to present, speak, or interact in an Airmeet event. Have a fantastic and engaging speaking experience with Airmeet.
"82% of teams struggle with inefficiency in innovation. Testing and validating ideas is still a tedious physical process involving pens, post-its, and it's difficult for teams to work remotely. Tracking the progress of multiple projects and storing their data is a complex and laborious task. Innovation teams also work on ideas in silos due to the lack of collaborative tools. This leads to a lot of innovation data being lost. Introducing PitchSpot. PitchSpot digitizes innovation frameworks for teams to discover, share, and build validated ideas for product development and venture creation. Reimagine innovation with PitchSpot. Here's how it works. Structure, test, and validate ideas on widely recognized innovation frameworks, such as the Business Model Canvas. Build roadmaps, workflows, and prioritize tasks to gather feedback for ideas. Ensure data security for your ideas stored in the cloud with SSL TLS encryption. Sign up for free to test and validate your ideas. Share your canvas with collaborators or share a view-only link with mentors, stakeholders, and potential investors. Learn faster, measure better, and build validated ideas with PitchSpot, your global launchpad for ideas.
Developer student clubs are university-based communities where students learn about Google technology and use their skills to solve local problems.
Welcome to the Developer Student Club's 2020 Solution Challenge Demo Day. Developer Student Clubs train thousands of student developers globally and work with their communities to solve real-life problems. Google selects amazing students from across the globe once a year to be a Developer Student Club lead and start a club on their campus. These leads believe knowledge is power and that technology can do extraordinary things for the world. They take on the responsibility to help students learn and empower these students to solve real problems around them. Join us in building a global community for students.